simplified form and factored form of a polynomial. So we're going to start off by simplifying some expressions. This first expression is the product of two binomials, and so we will use FOIL. The first product, 3m times 6m, is 18m squared. The outer products, 3m times 5n, is plus 15mn. The inner is negative 2n times 6n, be minus 12mn, and the last 2n, negative 2n plus 5n, will be minus 10n squared. And we collect those because we have like terms. The outer and inner terms are like terms. And we get 18m squared plus 3mn minus 10n squared. That's the first one. Okay, now for the second one, we have, again, the product of two binomials, but we have a monomial out front. What we're going to do in this case is first we're going to start off by multiplying the two binomials together, simplifying it down, and then our last step will be to multiply by the monomial in front. So equals negative 4x squared. I'm going to put a set of brackets, and in this set of brackets I'm going to multiply the two binomials, 15x squared plus 35xy minus 3xy minus 7y squared. And now we'll simplify what's in those brackets. Negative 4x squared times 15x squared plus 32xy minus 7y squared. And to finish this off, we will then multiply through by the negative 4x squared, negative 60x squared, or sorry, x to the fourth, minus 32 times 4 is 128, x cubed y, and now plus, minus times minus. Always watch out when you're distributing through the signs, plus 28x squared y squared. One more. Okay, next one. We have the square of a binomial minus the product of two binomials. Now, order of operations tells us that this minus the subtraction operation will be done last. So let's start by squaring this binomial. Now, if you remember, this is a special product. We don't need to FOIL it out. It's the first term squared, 4a squared. First term times the last gives us 6a, and double that, so plus this sign here, plus 12a, and then square the last term, plus 9. Minus, now I am going to put a set of brackets down because we'll be doing the subtraction after we've done this multiplication. We're going to FOIL this out, a squared plus 4a minus 5a minus 20. Okay, a couple more lines. We're going to simplify what's in the brackets here. So 4a squared plus 12a plus 9. And oftentimes when I do this multiplication, I'll just simplify it instead of writing out all four. But we have a squared minus a minus 20. Okay, remove the brackets. 4a squared plus 12a plus 9. With the minus sign in front, it's just going to change the sign of everything that's in the brackets. So let me just get my minus a squared plus a plus 20, and lastly collect them together. We have 4a squared minus a squared is 3a squared plus 13a plus 29. Okay, moving on. A polynomial is expressed in simplified form when it is expressed as a sum of terms where all like terms have been collected. So up here, like terms, the a squared, the a's, and the two numbers. Those are like terms. So here are some examples that you can look through, and you'll see all the like terms have been collected. The polynomial is expressed in factored form when it is written as the product of two or more factors. Okay, and here are some examples of the factored form, and basically what we had up top that we multiplied were in factored form. Okay, 3 polynomials in simplified form are given. Complete the following to factor each polynomial. So 9x minus 27y. You notice that both of these terms are divisible by 9. That's our common factor. We put it up front, and then we divide each term by 9, giving us x minus 3y. Note that there are as many terms inside the brackets as there are terms in the original expression. Here, the largest number that goes into 6 and 15 is 3. These both have an x, so our common factor is 3x. And I say 3x times what will give me 6x squared? Well, I need a 2 to get the 6 and an x to get the x squared, minus, and 3x times what? Or you're basically really just dividing the 15x by 3x, minus 5. Again, 2 terms in the original, we have 2 terms in the brackets and the common factor out front. 35m to the 4th minus m cubed. So we're asking, what's the common factor of 35 and 40? Now both of those are divisible by 5, so 5 is a common factor. And what's the lowest power of m? Since they both have an m, the lowest power is m cubed, so the common factor is 5m cubed. 5 times 7 to give me 35, and I need another m to get the m to the 4th, minus, I already have the m cubed, so just divide 40 by 5, and we get minus 8. Note, the expression 2a plus 3 quantity squared minus a minus 5a plus form is neither in factored form or simplified form. Okay, so this one is the one above that we had to simplify, was not in a simplified form. So we've learned how to express polynomials in simplified form by multiplying and collecting like terms. We will now learn how to express a polynomial in factored form using the following methods. First one is common factoring. That's always the first type of factoring that you're going to attempt. And other methods, we've got a grouping of terms, trinomials of the form x squared plus bx plus c, trinomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c, and a difference of squares. Okay, let's move on to common factoring and grouping of terms. So we want to express 18a minus 36b plus 12 as a product in as many ways as possible. So we can say, well, each of these is divisible by 2, so I can remove 2 as a common factor. Then I'll need a 9a minus 18b plus 6. 3 goes into all of these, so 3 can be taken out as a common factor, giving me 6a minus 12b plus 4. What else goes into all of these? How about 6? So 6 goes in 3a minus 6b plus 2. Okay, is there anything else that goes into all of these? Does 4? No, it doesn't go into 18, but it does go into these two. 5 goes into none of them. 9 goes into these two, but not this one. 12 goes into these two, but not this one. In order to write it as a product, it has to be a common factor. So 2, 3, and 6 are the common factors. Which of the above answers would be the expression that is factored completely? It's the one where there's no more common factors left. And in this one, you'll notice that 9, 18, and 6 are all divisible by 3, so I could pull a 3 out of there as well. And in here, 6, 12, and 4 are all divisible by 2. I could pull a 6 out of there. And in this one here, there are no common factors in any of these, so this is the completely factored expression. So 6, 3a minus 6b plus 2. Factor completely. Number 3. Let's move down here. Negative 15. M squared minus 15m plus 45. Okay, the common factor, in this case, 5 goes into all of these. We look at the smallest number and we say, okay, so 5 will go into 15 and 45. In this case, I'm actually going to take out a negative 5. So this is equal to negative 5. Now, this has an m squared, this has an m, this doesn't have an m, so there is no m term. So negative 5 times what gives me negative 5m squared, just m squared. I've already got the negative, so this will be plus 3m. to give me negative 15m, or really negative 15m divided by negative 5. And 45 divided by negative 5 is minus 9. Next one, x to the 5th plus x cubed. There are no numbers, but there are powers of x. I can take an x cubed, the lowest power. X cubed times what? It gives me x to the 5th. This will be x squared. And I still need the x cubed term, so it's going to be plus 1. And this brings up an important point. If there are two terms in the original, there should be two terms in the brackets after you factor it. Here we need the largest number that divides into 60 and 24, which is going to be 12. We can take the smallest power of p as a common factor, 12p to the 4th. In order to get the 60, we've got a 5, and I've already got the p to the 4th, minus sign. To get 24, I need a 2. To get a p to the 7th, I'm going to need a p cubed. Moving down, 40, a to the 10th, etc. So 5 will be the common factor as far as numbers go. The lowest power of a is a to the 4th. That will divide into both of these. Lowest power of b is b squared, which will also divide into these. And as the first term has a c, but the second doesn't, it's not common. So 5 times what? We got to get 40. That's going to be an 80. A to the 4th, a to the 10th divided by a to the 4th is a to the 6th. B squared we've got. I need the c minus 1. So I don't need to write the 1 since I've got a variable. The a to the 4th is already accounted for, and so this is b to the 4th. If you expand this back out, we'll end up with the original. Next one. Oh, this is interesting. Our common factor here, because really we've got two terms, our common factor is y minus 2. It's a binomial common factor. So let's factor it out. And that leaves the first term will be 5x. Because if we multiply this out, we'll get 5x times y minus 2. And the second term is minus 3. This is a type of factoring called factoring by grouping. We're taking this group out. Here, again, common factor in this case is a binomial. It's 2n minus 5, leaving us with 4m plus 7. If I go to expand this, I could write it as 2n minus 5 times 4m, which is this, and 2n minus 5 times 7, which is that. Okay, so some general principles here. To factor an expression by common factoring, find the greatest common factor, the largest expression that divides into all of the terms. Let me just write all when I get my pen up there. All of the terms. Write down the GCF and open a set of brackets. Technically they're parentheses, but we'll call them brackets. If the GCF has more than one term, make sure to put the GCF in brackets. So we saw in those last two examples how the greatest common factor was a binomial common factor, had more than one term, so it was in brackets. Divide each term by the greatest common factor and write the answer in the brackets. Check your answer by simplifying. Okay, so if we want to check any of these, we can check simply by multiplying them back out. Now note, if the original expression is not in simplified form, the way to check would be to simplify both the original expression and your answer to see if they are equal. Okay, last little bit. Factor by grouping of terms. So in this case, what I'm looking for is to group the terms. I'm looking at two terms and two terms. Since there is no common factor for all four terms, but out of 12 and 15, the common factor would be a 3. And they both have an x, so I'm going to write that as 3x. To get 12xy, divide by 3x gives me 4y minus, and to get a 15x, 5, plus, the common factor between 8 and 10 is 2, and I get 4y minus 5. And really what I'm aiming for is to have this same factor of 4y minus 5 in both terms. So the common binomial factor is 4y minus 5, and we're left with 3x plus 2. And close parenthesis. Oops, let's try and divide that out. not cross it off. Okay, again, we're going to group the terms. Okay, I want to factor this group and factor this group. So 6 and 8, common factor is 2. Lowest power of x is x squared. 6x cubed divided by 2x squared is 3x minus 4. Now ideally I'm going to end up with 3x minus 4 here, minus common factor between 15 and 20 is 5, 3x minus 4. So I do have that binomial factor. Don't forget an equal sign in front. The common binomial factor is 3x minus 4, and what's left is 2x squared minus 5. If you were to apply FOIL in this, you'd get 6x cubed minus 15x minus 8x squared plus 20. Okay, one more. I'm going to just clear some space here and then we'll do the last one. Okay, I made some room and I need to go back to a pen. So now we want to do the last one. Now you notice before we start the last one, actually these have a common factor of 4. 4 goes into 8, 56, 4, and 28. And they also all have a t. So our first step in any factoring is always to common factor. And this becomes 2t cubed plus 56 divided by 4 is 14. And we'll have a t squared minus, I've already got the 4, so I just need a t, and then minus 7. And now the question is, can we factor by grouping? I have these 4 terms here, so let's give that a try. So the 4t stays. Okay, I'm going to put down a square bracket because we're going to be using some round brackets in here. Common factor in these 2 terms will be 2t squared, leaving me with t plus 7. And can I get a t plus 7 out of this? Yeah, if I factor out a minus 1, then this becomes t minus t, right, if I multiply, and then plus 7. And let's close that square bracket. So you notice this will be minus t minus 7, which is what I have here. So I'm allowed to use that. By factoring out a negative 1, I will end up with the same common binomial factor. And now our final factored form, 4t, the common factor, t plus 7, the first binomial factor, and what's left? 2t squared minus 1. And that's our fully factored form and the end of this particular lesson.